Hello everyone, Lori with Hardworking Mom here. Welcome to another video. Today I want to show you how to use a really small, now this is an evergreen wreath, but I like these little ones because you can get them pretty inexpensive this time of year and you can use them all year. Alright, so this one is a 12-inch base. So it's about a 10-inch base, okay, but as far as the evergreen goes, it says it's a 18-inch. So 18-inch would be from the base to the longest part of your wreath. So this project is great for leftover mesh. So I have several colors of leftover mesh. And all you have to do is find a sign that's going to match the leftover mesh you have. So I have this from doing Valentine's. I have this from doing a spring one. And I have this one from doing a bumblebee. So see, I have purple, I have yellow, and I have pink in this sign. So I grabbed this sign with my leftover mesh. And I grabbed a few ribbons. So this is a smaller base. Then I just pulled out a few ribbons. This is a smaller base, so I'm going to use smaller ribbons. Alright, so I have all of my extra mesh cut at 20 inches. So let's get zoomed in a little and we can get started. So when I'm putting mesh into an evergreen base, the first thing I do is fluff up the base. You just have to run around and pull your tips up. Okay. And I do have a few of these left that I will be listing as well. But you can usually find things like this at Walmart this time of year. Alright, so we're going to take our 20-inch mesh and we're just going to walk our hands in together and we're just going to do a messy ruffle because you don't really need a lot. You don't need it to be perfect. I'm going to take 2 ties and tie it together and then I'm going to fluff it up. Okay? Just like that. We're going to alternate going around. So the pink and the purple both have the snow detail in it, but the yellow is actually a jute, but it has a little white stripe, so it'll work out just fine. So I'm going to go over just a little bit and tie another one down. So I do want them to touch, but I don't want them to be on top of each other. Okay, so I went over about an inch or two. Okay. And it's totally okay if they are not perfect because you're not going to be able to tell when we get them in the base. So I'm kind of skipping over a tie and then going to the next tie. So if you were doing one like this, you could also put, you could put turquoise in it, you could put green in it, but you see just by picking out a sign that has the right elements, you can really start to use up some of the extra mesh you have. Okay? The great thing about the evergreen bases is that you don't have to deal with ties because it already has the ties. So the evergreen base itself is the ties. And I don't have any rhyme or reason, I'm just filling it up. So all I want to do is fill this up so that we're not really going to be able to see a lot of the greenery base. Okay? And I do want to alternate my colors. This base is great for people who are starting out and who struggle with making ruffles because You don't have to get them perfect. So let me do some over here so you can see. Okay, so we just take our mesh and just pull it together. You see like that? That's a messy ruffle. Then I'm just gonna pick an area. I'm gonna take 2 ties and I'm gonna tie it down like that. And I'm gonna ruffle it out. Okay? And then I will go to the next color. Okay? I do like to make sure I have some up and some down. So I will make sure that I have some up towards the center and some out towards the end. I have one more cut piece. So let's see if we can find somewhere that could really use, here, one more piece right there. Okay. All right, there we go. All right, so if you look here, you can see how this works really well with our sign. So now we're going to add in a little bit of ribbon and we're going to do a bow. So we're going to add this to our bow because it is going to bring out some of what's in our sign. But just for adding to the ribbon itself, just for adding to the mesh itself, we're going to use these two. Or maybe we may just use this one. Okay, so this is a smaller base, so I'm not going to use as much ribbon. So what I like to do when I'm using a base like this is I want to check and see what size I want my ribbon to be. So what I'll do is I'll put it down in here and I'll see, okay, can I see that? Do I need to make it a little bit larger? And then I will take it and measure. Okay, so we're gonna do 13-inch tails. Okay. On these, I'm actually going to cut them at an angle and not dovetailed. It's just a different look. You can dovetail them. So one side I'll cut in this direction. Oops. And one side I will cut in this direction. Okay? And it's perfectly okay to cut your tails using something other than just doing dovetails. Alright, so I'm going to find the middle, then I'm going to pinch it, and I am going to get that curl before I put it in, and I'm going to go right down and tie it in with the greenery piece, and then I'm just going to pull it and make sure that it is standing out. Okay. Okay. So I just go to where the greenery piece is. I want to tie it all the way down and then lift it back up. This makes it look very springy or Eastery, and this ties in a lot of the colors that we have going on. So we have our yellow, our pink, and our purple. all in this one ribbon. And I'm just going to kind of tie it around. I am going to leave the middle blank for our sign. I want to make sure I get some on the bottom as well as the top. So I think we're going to end up with 11 ribbons in here. Okay. There we go. So you see how cute that is? Alright. Now. Okay, what we're going to do next is we're going to make a bow. We're going to make a bow for the top and a bow for the bottom. Alright, so we have our really pretty turquoise ribbon. It's glittered. Alright, we have another one that has kind of a yellow tint in the back. It has purple, pink, and a little bit of green to pull out this. And then of course we have the one that we've been working with. Okay, so we will start off with the top bow. So the top bow is going to be a little bit smaller. So let's do a small tail, about 7 inches. Yeah, you can turn off the presses. Thank you, Holly. Okay, so let's do a 5-inch loop. Okay. So just over to the 5. I'm just measuring it on my board. If you want to measure it on your mat, you would go out to the 10 inches. That would make a 5-inch loop. Okay. And we are going to do a 3-loop bow, alternating, also called the Lisa bow. So with this bow, you will have one tail on one side and one tail on the other side. I am going to cut them at an angle. Alright, so we have our tails here, which means we want to start over here with our tails. Okay. So we can cut at an angle. So we were just doing 7 inches. Okay. So this is a smaller bow. There's not a lot of room at the top. Okay, so 5-inch loop. So you'll have 2 loops on this side, 1 loop on this side. Okay, 5-inch loop again. Okay, and again. So you can see there's 1 loop, then 2. So we bring this one out this direction, trim it off. Okay, then we're going to finish with this one. So this one's going to pull in. This one's going to pull in that green from the sign. Okay, so we're back over to our tails on this side. So 5-inch, we're sticking with 5 inches. 5-inch. Okay, 5-inch. On that last one, you don't twist because you're pulling out to trim it off. There we go. Okay, so we will run a zip tie under the whole thing. Okay, and I'm going to tie it off, pull it out. Okay, so on this one, I'm going to look to see where my indentation is, and I'm going to slide it over. Okay. I'm going to grab a pipe cleaner, run it through the back. Okay. And then I will make sure all my tails are going on opposite ends. Okay. Because I want to make sure that I have all my tails separated. Alright. And then I can pull it really tight, and I will hold the pipe cleaner and the zip tie while I fluff it out. So to fluff it out, I'm going to twist and pull. That just helps you get a better fluff. You want to start from the bottom and go to the top. So okay. And I want to bring some of this pretty blue back to the top. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull out the blue again. We're going to cut off a little piece about 8 inches or so. Then I will fold it in half, just like that. And I will tie this right around the center, and I'm pulling that blue back up to the top, and it will cover our pipe cleaner. So it's win-win. Okay. And I can trim that off. Okay, and we have bow number 1 ready. Okay, so we'll set that there. And we will start on bow number 2. Alright, so with bow number 2, we're going to do a little bit larger. We'll go about 9-inch tail. Okay. We are going to do about 6 inches. So 6-inch loop. 6-inch loop. Okay. So we're going to do 2 like this. 2 6-inch loops. Okay, with the tails coming out. Alright, and then we will do this one. So this is going to help call attention to the sign, to this turquoise color in the sign. So we're going to pull the turquoise back in. Okay. It's okay if these tails are longer because we're going to curl them up. Alright, now we're going to go a little bit smaller, about a 5-inch loop. Okay. And you can either pull them up to make sure they're the same, or you can move everything to make sure you have the right measurement. Okay, so we're going to do 2 loops of this. There we go. The glitter can make these a little bit stiff, but if you're just patient with them, they will work just fine. They actually are very pretty. Alright, then we're going to end off with this. Okay, so we want to match the 5 inches. Okay. Alright, so now we'll take another zip tie, go under the whole thing, start to pull it up, like that. Okay, we can move our bow maker. We can grab another pipe cleaner. Alright, so you always want to hold it on one side while you pull it around. You just want to make sure you're not going to accidentally twist the ribbons, because then you'll really struggle when you're trying to fluff them. I always make sure that my tails are pulled out the front, if that's the way I want them to go. And I make sure that none of my ribbon has really moved from the place that I put it. That nothing has gotten too large, and once I'm happy with it, then I'll tighten it very tight, and then I'll hold all three of these while I fluff. So remember, to fluff, you're going to break the bow by twisting and fluffing with your fingers. Okay. Just like this. Alright, and then we're going to run our hands under all of this tails to get them to give us a nice little curl. Okay, and we have bow number 2 made. Alright. So we're going to bring our wreath back. We're going to start off by putting our sign in. Okay, so we're going to use a metal hole punch for the sign. Okay, just in the corners. There we go. Okay. All right. I like to use 26 gauge wire. It's very easy to hide the wire that you use to tie the sign on. So I cut about 22-inch pieces. So once I have 4 pieces, I'm just going to tie them on in the corner. And I do like to double it up, so I will put it in and stretch it out to meet the other side. Just gives it a little bit more strength. Okay, so we will take this and we're going to put it pretty much in the center. So I'm just going to take this wire and I'm going to run it down in between the ruffles. And then I will tie it together and tie it to the frame on the bottom. So you can see here's one side, there's the other side. So I will tie them together just like this, and then I will tie them to the frame. Right there. So here's my crossbar. So this is the easiest place to tie it to on the frame, so that's where I'm going to tie it. Then we will do the other side the same exact way. So I just kind of move everything aside run it down. Same thing on this side. You can also run it right through the mesh if you need to. It's not going to hurt the mesh to do that. Okay, so there we are. So we can tie it. And then here's a crossbar. We can tie it a little bit more. Just want to make sure it's in there secure. Okay, then we can kind of refluff anything we need. Alright, now we're going to tie this bow up here at the top, okay, and we're going to tie a bow down there at the bottom. Now, to tie this bow up here, I want to make sure it's not going to sink in to my frame. So I'm going to take a piece of my leftover yellow mesh, and I'm going to cut a piece of it. Doesn't have to be exact. And I'm going to curl it a couple of times and then ruffle it up just like this. I want it to be kind of a bunch. Now I'm going to take it, I'm going to tie it on the bottom of this bow, and I want to twist it to go in the direction that the loops are going. So you see it's kind of behind the bow, and then when I come and tie this down, okay, and you always want to tie to the frame when you can, but see, by putting that mesh there, it's going to keep this bow from sinking into the wreath. Now this tie is not long enough. So what you can do is take another zip tie, another pipe cleaner, run it up, okay? Then I'm going to tie it onto this, okay, just like this. And I'm going to tie it pretty tight so you can see right here. Tying these two together. This way I can make sure that I'm going to get it in the place I want, but I'm still going to secure it. Okay? There we go. Alright, and then use that mesh to make sure your bow is not going to fall down backwards into your wreath. Alright, and then we can fluff all of our tails and our bow out. Okay. And the yellow mesh should just fill in with your wreath and just look like a natural part of your wreath. Okay, so this should not look any different than any other part of your wreath. Okay. And I just want to make sure I have it secured down tightly. So I will run this whole piece back and tie it to the frame. Alright, it's on there. There we go. You can see it's cute. It's almost like a little spider. You can kind of move your tails so that they kind of stand up a little bit. There we go. Alright, so we have our top one on. Alright, so now we're going to do the bottom. Okay. Alright, so at the bottom, it is okay if it sinks in a little bit. So I'm not really going to put a piece in with this one. I should also have a better time of getting to the frame. Okay, let's see. Okay. There we go. Okay, so we can tie this one in. so now we want to spread out our bow. Make sure it's fluffing again, because it will get a little squashed down as you're making sure it's tied in. Okay, there we go. So you see how this is pulling that turquoise out? All right, so then we can take these and we can curl them up. Okay, so it's really easy just to take it and run it at an angle, just kind of loosely using your thumb. You can also go straight up and then pull it out. It's really whatever works better for you. So you can do straight up, gently pull out that center, or you can go at an angle, just like this. Okay. Just really whatever you're comfortable with. Okay, so you could be done at this point and just have a cute wreath, wait, this way, with a couple of bows. Or, what I think we should do is add in some coordinating flowers. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some of these springtime flowers that we have. They're in the same colors as our project. So we have yellow, we have purple, we have pink, and we have a little bit of green. And so what we'll do is we'll look for places where there's a little bit of greenery we can see, and we're going to place some of these florals in it. Okay, so I will come through and I will start cutting some pieces off. Okay. We have a little green. I really like this long. It might be longer than we want, but we can always trim it. Okay. We can always cut additional pieces off. So with these, I like the greenery, but I don't like it way above. So I can put these two pieces together, and then I will take this piece together. I will run it in my glue and put them in at the same time so that I get both the floral and the greenery. But I do want to separate them because I don't want the leaf to be well above the flower, because it's just not going to look natural. Okay, so let's get some of this pink off so we can just kind of pull this. These are cherry blossoms, and they're very cute. Nice and delicate. I have some little purple bush. Okay. So you can just cut it wherever you can find a nice natural place to trim off. And you can get many cuts out of these bushes like these. Okay. There we go. So then what you want to do is just take it, run it in your glue. Let's zoom back in here. Okay. And then we're going to place it in right where we see that greenery. So the greenery will hold on to glue very easily. Whoops. There we go. So you want to take it, get some glue on it, and find that greenery and place it right where the greenery is. It's going to cover up the greenery, and it's going to really provide a nice base to put your florals in. Okay, so let's put a little purple. Let's see, we have some right here. And don't be afraid to come up off of your base. That's going to give it a lot of personality. Also, don't be afraid to add it into your bows. So it's great to add florals pieces into your bows. Okay. put this green piece that has a long stem. So you see how it comes out from the bow. We have some yellow pieces that are exactly the same. Okay. Now I'm not sure what these are called. Okay. Alright, we can get a little yellow in here. There we go. If you feel like it's too long, just trim it off. Like this. Okay. There we go. Alright. So we're going to kind of go around the base. And see if we can find good places to put some of our florals in. Okay. And all you have to do is make sure that it has adhered to the evergreen, because that's what's going to hold it in place. Okay. So I'm just looking, whoops. I'm just looking for places that have some green showing, like right here. Okay, and then I'll just take some of my cut pieces, get some glue on them, and just place them right in. You can even put multiple colors together. That's totally fine as well. So don't feel like there's a rule, because there's not. You can also kind of move some of your mesh to find little places to put some of your florals. Okay. So for some of these longer ones, I'll kind of place them in a little bit. So see, I just come right up here, and there's a good spot. Okay, there is a very big spot of greenery down here. So let's see. We'll put a few pieces together. Place them in. Okay. Right in there. Okay, don't want it to be that long. Alright, I can also put a little leaf in here. Okay, so you see how that just covers up that greenery. Okay, there we go. Alright, we'll put some things in this bow as well, especially some of these long, fun ones. Okay, there we go. Just cut a little bit more purple off. So I want a little bit longer piece for the bow. Okay, so I have a little bit longer piece here. There we go. So you can see it a little bit easier if the piece is a little bit longer. And what you're doing is you're giving this a higher value just by taking the time to add in some little pieces of floral, coordinating colors. There we go. Okay, so I want to put a little bit down here. There we go. All right. little bit underneath this bow. Okay. Have a little bit more green. So I will pull this up and I will place it down inside there so that it's kind of coming out. Okay. A little bit right here. So you see how that softens the overall look and just adds a little bit. It adds different colors, it adds different texture. Okay. So some of this you won't see until you get up close, but one thing, when you put this, when a person puts this outside their house, these are going to start to blow in the wind, and it will really give a nice effect to the wreath. Okay. All right, we're about done. I just want to put in a few more. Then we should be pretty good. Okay. So I'm putting a piece in right back here where I can see some greenery. Let's put in a little yellow there. There we go. I need a little bit right here. Let's grab a little bit more yellow. Okay, we have a little bit more purple. So let's just put it in a few places. There we go. One right here, right there. Okay, and then I think we'll be pretty good. All right. All right, and there it is. So you can see all the delicate little flowers in it. And you really cannot tell it's on a greenery base. If you see some pieces of greenery and it bothers you, you can just trim or push them back. You can also put more mesh in there. But you can see we still have two bows. This is now an 18-inch wreath. So you can send it in an 18-inch box. And it just gives you a little bit more flexibility. It's still a nice, full-looking wreath. It's very pretty, and it will really give you a little bit more options for what you can do with wreaths. So I hope you enjoyed this. Make sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon so that you'll know when I am live or putting up new content. And this sign, and along with a lot of others, are in my Hardworking Mom store or hardworkingmomshop.com. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this and it gives you some ideas. And don't forget, I have some of these bases if you're looking for them. All right, and if you really like this, make sure that you check out my design group where I show you even more in detail and more about how you can grow your design business. All right, y'all have a great day, and thank y'all for watching. Bye, y'all.